Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the box office breakdown show here at Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinenberg. Breaking down the box office weekend of January 14th to the 16th, including the 4-day weekend into the 17th. We're also going to break down the 2021 domestic box office. There really weren't many changes to both the domestic and the worldwide of 2021. I want to focus the show more on 2022, so this will be a quicker show than usual, but we're going to break it down today here at Max Talks Box Office. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings, box office breakdown shows every single week. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Already on this top 5 box office movies. I've seen 4 of the 5 movies, reviewed them. I've already reviewed Scream this year and the 355, which are the new 2022 releases, as well as the Tender Bar and the Tragedy of Macbeth. All already are in the channel, so please subscribe, ring the bell. Also comment down below what movies did you see at the movies at the box office this past weekend. And please hit the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel the best way. Let's talk about the box office. So we're going to break down the 3-day weekend for these films. I'm very excited to break it down to you. So for the first time since its release, Spider-Man No Way Home is not in first place. Scream is in first place, which is a good news for them. $30 million opening for Scream. If you include the 4-day weekend, $36 million for Scream 2021. I think a lot of people were looking for $40 to $45 million. Didn't quite hit there. I think it definitely shows where we are at the pandemic. Now, this is a rated R horror film. And horror has not been one of the big genres that has been killing it at the box office since the pandemic. It's really just been family films and big superhero blockbusters. So other than that, so Scream does take first place though over Spider-Man No Way Home with over a $10 million lead over Spider-Man for this weekend. And there's no more releases coming out in January. So Scream can hold on to this spot in Battle of Spider-Man for the next 2 weeks until new releases start coming out. So a solid start for Scream. It is Paramount film. I am really interested in seeing if Paramount will go to PVOD first, then Paramount Plus, or will this movie go straight to Paramount Plus? Depends, I guess, on the box office. But Scream coming in first place. So for the first time in 5 weeks of release, Spider-Man No Way Home comes in second place, $20 million in a 3-day week. I'm just breaking down the 3-day weekend. $20 million for Spider-Man No Way Home, $698 if you for Spider-Man No Way Home. So if you look at the total domestic with the 4-day weekend, they do go over $700 million, $702 for Spider-Man No Way Home. Again, no competition for the next 2 weeks, so still plenty of opportunities for Spider-Man to possibly overtake Scream, or for them just to battle Scream the next 2 weeks before Moonfall and Jackass Forever comes out. So no more January releases, I think, helps Spider-Man and Scream a lot. Spider-Man really hasn't had that much competition. Scream was its first competition. Scream does overtake it. Sing 2 is at number 3, 7.9, 31% drop. It's at $120 million. It is about to be in the top 10 domestic. We'll get to that in a sec, but Sing 2 doing solid, nowhere near the amount of money the first film. I think the first one made over $600 million. Sing 2 has done a very solid job at the box office. The critics, the audiences love the movie. So good news for Universal. Again, they like to put and this movie has already been available for PVOD already. This is the second week it's been available for purchase at home for $25, which is pretty expensive. But even if it's PVOD run, it is still in the top 5 at the box office. In its second week is the 355, $2.2 million. They dropped 51% in its domestic totals at 8.3. Just a complete bomb for the 355. I feel like it wasn't really made for a lot and really did not make a lot. Star power. Obviously, the biggest reason why I think a lot of people did not see this movie is that, one, the critics absolutely destroyed this film, including myself. I mean, this is just not a good movie. But shocking just because of the star appeal of the actresses, Sebastian Stan. If there's a lot of star power in the film. But 355 has not been doing very well. It is Jessica Chastain's production company who made the film, so not good, I guess, for her more than anyone. But the 355 hanging by a thread in its second week in the top 5. And then finishing off the top 5 is The King's Man, $2.1 million, 31% drop off. in its fourth week. It's at the $26.5 million. Nothing special for The Kingsman, a film that's really no one is talking about. It was actually released yesterday, announced yesterday, that The Kingsman will be available with no extra cost on Hulu next month. Again, because it's a Fox movie, it's owned by Disney, and because it's rated R with hard R violence, it is not going to go to Disney Plus. It will go to Hulu. So if you have not seen The Kingsman yet, you can do PVOD at the moment, but you can also wait for Hulu in the next month. So that kicked American Underdog out of the top 5 for the first time since its release, with Scream joining the top 5. When you look at domestic box office, SpiderMan No Way Home, $702 million at the domestic box office in 2000. Again, it's the 2021 domestic box office. Over now $430 million over Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The only thing of note here, I don't want to keep repeating myself every single week, but it is Shang-Chi, then Venom, Black Widow, F9, Eternals, No Time to Die, A Quiet Place Part 2, Ghostbusters, and Free Guy. But Free Guy does have only a $300,000 edge on Sing 2, and then Sing 2 is $5 million away of catching Ghostbusters Afterlife. So no matter what, it looks like no matter what, we're going to know our top 10 movies of 2021, because Sing 2, even if it doesn't catch, even though it will catch Ghostbusters, it will be probably the number 9 movie of 2021. Really impressive for Sing 2. It came out the same day as Matrix Resurrections and The Kingsman, while Spider-Man was in the midst of its first and second weekend. Big props for Sing 2 to get into the top 10. So Free Guy will be knocked off the top 10 box office list, and Ghostbusters will be hanging by a thread at number 10. By the time I probably talk to you either next week or the week after, but we are going to focus a lot more on 2022, really more in the month of February. As I just said, you can also talk about some of the news stories that I kind of missed last week. As I said, Morbius did move out of 2020, out of January. It was supposed to come out. It's the 7th time Morbius has moved out of the top 5 box office out of January. Sorry, 7th time it has moved dates. It was supposed to come out April 2020, and here we are talking about it coming out in April of 2022. So just so many different releases. So April 2022 is when Morbius is coming out. Another big change that happened last week was that Turning Red, which is the 3rd Pixar film in a row, has been moved to Disney Plus. 3rd Pixar film to go straight to Disney Plus without no extra cost and not going in theaters, just like Soul and Luca. It was supposed to come out in March in theaters, exclusively in theaters, then got moved straight to Disney Plus. So that's a pretty big hit. Again, Pixar does really well at the box office, and the last Pixar movie to come out in theaters was Onward, literally a week or two before the pandemic in March of 2020. So basically, we can talk about the end of the video here. The next big releases is February 4th, where February is going to be a big month back in theaters. Moonfall and Jackass Forever come out February 4th. That's followed by February 11th with both Death on the Nile and Marry Me. Then Uncharted is definitely the biggest movie of the month of February 18th. And then we get to Batman in March 4th. So February is really highlighted by Uncharted for Sony. Other than that, we're going to keep track of Scream and the 355 and all the other movies taking up the top 5 movies at the box office the next 2 weeks, even with no new releases. I'll be back here the next 2 Mondays breaking it down for you, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.